Testing, testing, testing.
All right. Oh, there's echo there. Let me turn it down anyway, because they'll need to have this up anyway. Emperor Palpatine, what is up? Simply D. Craig, my man, what is going on? Yo, what is good, everybody? It is the Godfather of the Art, the Ageless, one of the man, Lincoln Clay, back from a hard 90 days on the YouTube rock pile, busting big rocks with the hammer. I'm finally out, I'm finally free. What is going on? How's everybody doing? Hey, thanks, Emperor. I really appreciate it, man. This, when I first got tossed into YouTube jail, I really didn't care at the time. I just said, the hell with it. I'll just make another channel, start over from scratch, whatever the case may be. But after making a few of those car videos and not being able to talk to you guys, I realized just how much I missed everybody. So I'll be a little more careful going forward. So I probably won't open up my videos with music anymore as much. I really did enjoy that though, because I think it set the tone for what kind of show it was going to be. And what is up, Big Cloud? What is up? I'm finally free. They took the handcuffs off. They took them off. I'm doing all right, Simply Deep. I'm doing pretty good. I don't even, there's a lot to talk about. There's been a lot happening this week, but I'd rather save it for tomorrow, for Live from Wakanda. Obviously, the biggest bit of the news is the Game Awards, the new Xbox being revealed, and finally getting a release window for Ghost of Tsushima. I had no idea that Xbox was. I had no idea that was coming. But hey, it was cool though. Actually, on the outside looking in, Phil Spencer actually pulled a Sony move. I'm sure Xbox was well aware of Ghost of Tsushima was going to be featured at the Game Awards, and we're probably going to get a release window. And I wouldn't be surprised if they snuck that in at the last minute. The way Sony's been doing that to Xbox. Every time Inside Xbox gets ready to come out, Sony comes out with some kind of announcement and undercuts them. So hey, good play, Phil. Who's buying the Xbox One Series Day One? Well, I guess what I could go ahead and say about the Series X, and I'll go ahead and say it again tomorrow. That a lot of people don't care for that design, but to me it looks like PC. And Microsoft's been focusing on PC, which had a lot of people upset. But I think at the end of the day, when the Xbox One X came out, every time there was some kind of comparison, the Xbox community, especially the toxic ones, were trying to make references to PC graphics every time they made a comparison. So in the beginning, they tried to act like, hey, we don't even associate ourselves with the PlayStation Pro. We're in the PC realm. So now this Xbox Series makes it sound like, they're in the same ball field with them. I mean, it even has a PC name to it. And the way the console look, along with that PC name, makes it sound like they're going to be a lineup of PCs so when this console comes out and you see people going to Best Buy wearing their Mr. Rogers sweaters, feeling good, it's all good in the neighborhood, feeling all warm and fuzzy. When they come out of there hugging that Xbox, hey, what's up, princess? When they come out of Best Buy hugging that Xbox, also warm and fuzzy, if somebody walks up to them and say, hey, is that the new Xbox console? They probably going to go into a fit and be like, no, this isn't the console. This is the Xbox PC exclusive. I think that new Xbox said, no, what's going on? How you doing? No, you're not late. I only started a few minutes ago. I'm not going to be on very long because it's late, and this is not a good time to try to reach a wider audience. But I just woke up. I've been working a lot of hours, doing 10-hour shifts, 6 days a week. I've been extremely tired. That's why you guys haven't seen any content from me this week. And now that I'm out of YouTube jail, I got to start making adjustments to take my place back on these YouTube streets. Probably have to go get set up with a StreamYard account, all that kind of stuff, so I can start doing the live from Wakanda and have guests on there. You said there's an echo? Just a minute. Yeah, it's been funny like that. I've been having some issues. Here, let me see. Okay, so how's that? Am I still echoing? Let me know if it sounds any different because I've had to switch the microphone. I switched the microphone from the Yeti, $100-some microphone, to this $30 webcam, which is about 15 years old. Okay. All right, I think I'm good. But if I'm still echoing, let me know. So, thank you, Princess. I really appreciate that. And you gotta come on live from Wakanda once I get settled back in on these YouTube streets. Yeah, I think I picked the perfect picture for my release from YouTube jail. I really am glad to be back. I miss everybody. Miss chatting with everybody. Miss interacting with everybody. Because even if it was a night when it's the middle of the night, can't sleep, looking for something to do, I can always do a podcast, and there's always going to be somebody to talk to. So really glad to be back. And again, moving forward, I'll be a little more careful about what kind of videos and music I run through these streams so I don't get cracked again for another 90 days. Because, man, I got used to it, but I'd much rather be live. So as far as, let's see here, as far as gaming streams goes, naturally I'm going to be back to doing that. Support Gaming, what is up? What's going on? How you doing? You said YouTube, man. No, 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 no. I appreciate the YouTube job. Got you hella buff. I wish I could say that. That's a hard time right there. Actually, Ryan, what's going on? I'm doing pretty good. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It is so good to be back. It is so good to be back. What did I get sniped on YouTube for so long? About 3 months ago, I was doing a live stream in the middle of the night, and I was running video from this show called Space Battleship Yamato. It's also known as Star Blazers. One of my favorite shows growing up as a kid. I found a video of that where they fired the wave motion gun, and I was running that video in a loop through my stream. And I think Bandai Namco or whoever owns it, and um, and that's what got me cracked. I mean, the stream was immediately terminated right in the middle of the stream, and I'm like, what the hell's going on? Next thing you know, I get an alert on my phone. Go check my phone. Says the stream's been terminated. You can't stream for 90 days. All that kind of good stuff. So, and then the funny part about it is, right after, I'd say about 3 weeks after I got thrown in YouTube jail, the roundtable got thrown in YouTube jail as well. Because we were doing a stream there, and I think Thrash was running videos from a kung fu movie through there. And so the roundtable was in jail, and that prompted him to have to start another. Yeah, no warning. It came out of nowhere. Hey, but they get a lot of people like that because hell, even Young Ye's in YouTube jail right now. Which I thought that was hilarious because yesterday during the Game Awards, a lot of the biggest YouTubers was streaming them live, and he was trying to stream them live and couldn't do it, so he released a quick video saying that some video that he showed from Blizzard or something like that got him thrown in, got him suspended for 90 days. So he was trying to appeal it and got no answer back. So yeah, he's in YouTube jail too. That's fun. A big YouTuber like him getting thrown in jail. Woo, needed that. Yeah, YouTube is such a mess. Um, but Stadia will be just fine. Oh my God. Out of all the stuff that I'm seeing on YouTube relevant to Stadia, the only person I see saying consistently positive things about Stadia is Mr. 4K Upscaler. I mean, if it works for you, it works for you. So I'm not going to get it. I'm not on board with it. I don't support it, but I'm not going to knock anybody who likes it. If it works for them, more power to them. Yeah, I got a Twitch channel, Simply Deep. I got a Twitch channel. Coon, what is up? Uncompetitive, what is up? 1 second, everybody. Hold on. All right. YouTube used to be the wild beast. Now everyone has to be so careful on anything they do and say. Yeah, absolutely right. Um, and Uncompetitive saying he's going to get Xbox Series X day one. Um, I will say this about the Xbox Series X. Even if that Hellblade 2 trailer might have been CGI, whatever you want to call it, if the game looks anywhere remotely close to what we saw, I won't totally rule out that Xbox could conceivably come back and revisit that VR thing. It's not a focus right now, but I think it's something they very well could take a look at again in the future because right now, honestly speaking, uh, current gen graphics
in VR graphics, VR is about a whole generation behind. I'm not gonna lie. Um, you see how current gen graphics look right now with games like God of War and the Spider-Man game. Um, for the most part, VR don't have games that look that good because the graphics is just a whole generation behind. A lot of the graphics on VR look like PS3 graphics. You know, some of them even look like PS2 graphics, depending on who made the game. And then there's a lot of low budget looking indie games out there. The only game I feel that comes even close to looking like current current gen graphics as far as flat screen game goes is Lone Echo. You know, that's an amazing looking game. To I would say like Lone Echo has it looks like a really clean 1080p. It has a 1080p look to it in terms of resolution. And you know, you got a lot of these games now. This checkerboard at 1440, 1800, what have you. Um, but just when I thought VR graphics were about to catch up with flat screen games because of the Half Life Alex that's going to be coming out in March, which looks absolutely amazing. That game looks like current gen graphics. That Hellblade trailer showed us that they're getting ready to make the next leap. So so what I'm saying is I think VR is about to catch up to current gen graphics, but flat screen gaming, the graphics is getting ready to make the next leap. I think both PS5 and Xbox Series X, I think the games are going to look amazing on both of those consoles. It's just a matter of what content both of those consoles have, and if any of it's going to be exclusive, or if they're going to be just kumbaya and share everything. You know what I mean? So, um, let's see here. Uncompetitive. I think it was made for VR, AR, MR, but they couldn't get a deal with Oculus. You know, uncompetitive. I made a video. I think it was a couple of weeks ago. I think why I think this VR thing didn't pan out. I think Oculus is moving too fast for Microsoft right now because you know I think the Oculus Rift CV1 came out in 2016. It was supported until this year, so it ran for about 3 years. Don't forget that it was 2000. I believe it was E3 2017 that Phil Spencer got up on that stage that talked about high fidelity VR. So at the time, the Oculus Rift CV1 was the headset that was being used. So fast forward to 2019, now we have the Rift S. And so um, if VR was currently available on the Xbox One X, it would only go so far because the CV1 has been discontinued. So now, if Microsoft were to partner up with Oculus now, it would probably be a shaky situation because the Oculus Quest is out, which you guys probably know about the Oculus Quest, which is a portable headset. But Oculus just did something amazing. They just came out. They allowed you the ability to plug this portable headset into a PC and use it like a PC headset. So that's got a lot of the VR community a little bit concerned because now they think that Oculus is eventually going to kill off the Rift S, and if that be the case, a lot of people are suspecting that it might be discontinued within a couple of years. So that's another reason why I think Microsoft probably isn't focused on VR right now because, um, you know, when the next headset comes out, you're basically telling people, hey, you had to have a CV1 for the Xbox One X for this new console. Now you got to get the new console, the new headset, the current Rift S. And then if that gets continued in a couple of years, and then this link cable ends up being the route that Oculus decides to go, now you got to tell these Xbox customers that they got to buy this headset along with the cable. So, so you're looking at a situation where Xbox would probably be telling customers that they would have to buy three different headsets, like maybe over a 5 year stretch, which to me that's not that's not good for business. So I stand by my word that I think that's why the deal didn't go through with Oculus and Microsoft, and I think it was the right move on Phil's part, being that Microsoft has no intentions of manufacturing their own headset, and they have no intentions of producing their own games. I think they were just going to let Oculus come over there, set up camp, and let them, do what they're going to do on the VR side. But with the pace that Oculus is moving, they just moving too fast. I mean, shoot, they just rolled out an update a couple of days ago that supports hand tracking. So when you navigate through the dashboard on the Oculus Quest, you don't necessarily need these controllers anymore. You can do it all with you can do it all with hand gestures. Just reach out, pinch, slide it to the side, and you can navigate through the dashboard that way. So that's already got people talking about what the next Quest is going to look like. So people are already thinking that the next Quest is probably going to be out in the next couple of years. And then you got Qualcomm, whatever they call it. I guess they're producing some kind of chip that's going to revolutionize, portable headsets like the Quest. And there's already like 5 companies already to jump on board with this. So in a couple of years from now, you're going to have about 4 or 5 different headsets competing with the Quest. So to me, that's like too big of a mess for Microsoft to get involved with that. So, Oculus has their own plans. They're moving at their own pace, which is they're moving at a fever pitch. So again, I can't really blame Microsoft for not following through. Now, I think when the dust is settled and they seem to be a little more stable on what kind of headset they're going to support in the years coming, then I think Microsoft could possibly get back into this. But like right now, being that Microsoft doesn't plan to make their own headsets or make their own games, this isn't the time to get involved in VR. And believe me, more than anyone, I definitely wanted to see Microsoft get on board with VR, because if Microsoft would have got on board with VR, that would have got people like EA and 2K or whoever to make fully playable VR versions of their sports titles. Let's see, Garuda and non-competitive having a conversation. That's cool. So, but yeah, tomorrow there's gonna be a lot to talk about tomorrow, because for those who follow me on Twitter, he says 2020 holiday going to be very interesting for sure, VR especially. Right now, I think 2019 has been the best year that we've seen so far in VR, because not only did we get a lot of great games this year in VR, with games like Stormland, Asgard's Wrath, Blood and Truth, Pistol Whip. We got a lot of great games this year, and we got a lot of headsets that released this year, because we got the Oculus Quest this year, we got the Rift S, the HP Reverb, the Valve Index, the Vive Cosmos. So in terms of both hardware and software, I think 2019 was a phenomenal year. Now, what I think is going to make 2020 a great year is because of the games that's going to be coming out, because that Half-Life Alyx was a game changer. That's an amazing looking game. And then you still got some big titles coming out for 2020 along with Half-Life Alyx. And what's crazy about that is you got Iron Man VR coming out February 28th. I think that might have been I think the Iron Man VR might be part of the reason why they pushed The Last of Us 2 back. So people ain't going to agree with me, because they're going to be thinking, you're comparing a game that's this small to a game this big. But you have to keep in mind that The Last of Us 2 was going to come out February 21st, 2020, and Iron Man VR was going to come out February 28th, 2020. That's only a week. So if a lot of people are still caught up in The Last of Us 2, that could stifle sales of the Iron Man VR game. So um, whatever the reason that Sony decided to do it, I think that was a good move for them to push that game back because now it clears the path for me to go ahead and play Iron Man VR and enjoy that game. And then the crazy part about it is that Half-Life Alyx is supposed to release in March of 2020. We don't have a concrete date. We just know that it's supposed to release in March. So if it were to release on something like March 2nd, that would only give me a couple of days to play Iron Man VR before I'd have to jump over to Half-Life Alyx. And then not too somewhere in that same window, we've got Medal of Honor VR coming from Oculus. So I just named off three bangers right off the top. You know, Iron Man VR, Half-Life Alyx, and Medal of Honor VR coming. And then we still got Lone Echo 2. So it's still some bangers coming. Ryan Landis, my wallet isn't ready for 2020. My backlog doesn't need to keep growing, but it is. Hey, I'm in the same boat. The flat screen games that I got in my backlog, it's pretty much over for those games. I'm probably not going to come back to those because I'm just too wrapped up in VR. Because shit, as it is, I can't even really get back to my backlog, my VR backlog. And then you still got bangers coming, over the horizon. Um, so yeah, so that brings me to the point that now that I'm out of YouTube jail and I can go back to live streaming, I'm gonna have to start reaching out to these developers again, so I can start getting keys for these games because I just don't have the pockets to buy everything that comes out because VR games come out much much faster than flat screen games. It almost seems like on any given week you might have a flat screen game come out, but you could easily have 5 VR games come out that week. So now VR is growing to the point where like some of these bigger titles, they're having to be a little more strategic about when they release these games so they don't collide with another game. So like for instance, you had Asgard's Wrath, which was an Oculus exclusive, and then I think a month and a half later, what have you, you had Stormland. In between that was another game. I think it was Until You Fall. It was a decent looking game, but it got caught up in between those two games, so it wasn't on my radar. Um, so again, yeah, I'm gonna have to start reaching out to these developers, but that's also a lot of work because take Gamertag VR for instance. He gets a lot of keys from developers, so much to the point where the VR link is really the only time he has time to do a podcast. Um, it's like every now and then he'll still give you a video of breaking news or the latest news, but it's not consistent the way it once was because he's doing so many game streams. I mean, the VR link in these game streams is kind of what identifies gamer tag now, because it seems like he does about 3, 4, 5 game streams a week because he's getting these keys from developers. So um, that's great to get these keys from developers, but man, I don't know if I want to be in a situation where I'm doing it every single day. But speaking of which, tomorrow, I meant to do it this week, but I've been extremely tired. But tomorrow, I will stream. Now that I'm out of YouTube jail, I will stream Touring Cars VR. I've already streamed this game once on PC, but I have the PlayStation version. So full disclosure that I did get a key from the developer, and I will be streaming that tomorrow. It's basically the Mario Kart of VR, really cool game. So make sure you check that out tomorrow when I do that. But and I realize that I realize again that shit, it's already 12:30 where I'm at, and I don't know if Sick is still alive or not. But speaking of Sick, big shout out to Sick. Big shout out to Sick Humor. Yesterday after the gaming awards, I tuned into his stream, and at one point he had 745 people watching his streams, and I think that's the most I might have ever seen um, at any given time watching his stream. So big shout out to Sick. So, but I think that's really all I got right now because I want to try to save some of this stuff for tomorrow. So tomorrow I'm going to also do live from Wakanda, go over um, the things that's been happening over the past 2 weeks. I've been making a lot of posts, so there is going to be a lot to talk about. I'm not even sure I'll be able to cover all of it. So, but I think that's going to do it for me. I'm glad to be back. I missed all of you. It's good to be chatting with everybody, and I do have to work tomorrow. Thanks, Uncompetitive. I do have to work tomorrow. Otherwise, I would stay up later. I would keep this thing going for an hour, 2 hours easily. But yeah, I got to get up and go to work. Yeah, Sick is killing it. And I also got to give another shout out to Sick for standing firm on his stance on Sony letting MLB go to the Xbox um, and Switch if that's what they choose to do, and PC. Um, I guess I I was going to make a separate video about that, but I can actually take a couple of minutes to talk about that. Um, I believe that, as a lot of you probably already know, a lot of people know that the MLB license, that Sony retained the rights to that license, but they're going to expand it and put it out on other platforms. I think in a little bit, I think in a little bit, not a little bit, in a small way, I think MLB, forced their hand a little bit because I've talked about this before. That the major sports entities, the NBA, the NFL, Major League Baseball, the National Hockey League, all these organizations are always looking for ways to expand their brand. And I've gave a few examples, like with the NFL and the NBA, they made rule changes to try to get more offense into the game, to try to get teams to score more points. In the case of the NFL, I've talked about how they allow the offensive line to change formations and go into a V formation, giving the quarterback more time to throw the ball. I also had forgot to mention that on the kickoff, they backed it up 5 yards because some of these kickers, their foot is so strong that they were banging the ball right out of the end zone. So they backed them up 5 yards to try to so they wouldn't be able to kick it out of the end zone and give the kick returner a chance to return the ball because everybody wants to see that big explosive play where the kick returner busts one for a touchdown. So these organizations are always trying to look for methods to put more offense into the game. The NBA was doing it as well. They changed the rules. They made They brought the 3 point line closer. They had eliminated hand checking, even though I think they finally brought it back. But they eliminated hand checking for a while. They were making the refs be a little more strict about calling flops. They made flops be a foul when flopping wasn't a foul. They're making flops be a flagrant foul, and so they were trying to get more scoring into the game. So in that, it sounds like I'm going off the tracks, but there's a reason why I'm saying that. It was only a matter of time before MLB was looking for more ways to expand the brand. I had talked about back in the steroids days when Jose Canseco, Barry Bonds, Mark McGwire, and all those dudes was on steroids, and they was hitting home runs left and right. Major League Baseball knew that was going on, but they let it go. They went ahead and let it go on because these dudes was cranking these balls out of the park, hitting these balls 500 feet, putting up more offense in the game. So MLB was fine and let that go ahead and go through because it was helping ratings, and there was even rumors that the ball was juiced, that they changed the materials that were in baseballs to let them fly further. So people that weren't that big was still hitting home runs, so it was adding more offense to the game. With that being said, it was only a matter of time before, with them looking for a way to cast their net even further, it was only a matter of time before they got to Sony and said, look, we want you to expand this game. So I understand those who don't like that. I understand how they feel about that, but I'm looking at it another way. Would you rather somebody like EA get that license? Because if EA gets that license, Sony will never see that license again. Because if EA was interested in getting that license, in my opinion, I think EA was going to try to monopolize the sports genre. I think what they were going to do is if they would have got that MLB license, it pretty much would have like the circle would have been complete. And I think EA would have created a separate subscription that was strictly sports related. So I think it's a high probability that they probably would have removed like Madden and FIFA. I think they probably would have removed them from EA Access or EA or Origin, whatever the name of the subscription service is, and they would have created another subscription service that was sports based, where you would have had NHL, MLB, Madden, and FIFA all under one subscription. So I definitely think EA was going to try to create a monopoly. I think EA was going to try to create a monopoly with these sports titles, and if they would have done that, they would have microtransaction us to death. They already doing that. So again, if Sony would have let that license get away, they would have never seen it again. So I think they did what they had to do. Um, because if they would have told MLB, nah, we're not going for this, you go ahead and keep that license. They would have most certainly gave it to EA or 2K. And I think EA would have got it because EA would have gave them that kind of money that they gave them for the NFL license. They would have gave them $300 million, $500 million. Ryan Landis says, I think you're right, Lincoln. It makes the most sense. Support gaming. If PlayStation's smart, they should make that flat screen multi-plat, but have VR exclusive for MLB. And that's something that I mentioned, support gaming, in that video when I talked about this situation with MLB. I think that now that the MLB the show is going to be going to the Xbox and the Switch, to me, even though the game didn't do very well, I still think it was a system seller, and it was one of the reasons. It was the reason why I bought a PS4. MLB The Show was the reason that I bought a PS4, and I'm sure I'm not the only one. I'm sure it was a few more people that bought a PlayStation 4, mainly for MLB The Show. So now that it's going to go to the Xbox and the Switch, for some people, there's going to be no reason to buy a PlayStation now that it's going to go to other platforms. With that being said, the only other motivating factor for someone to buy it on the PlayStation, in my opinion, is to add VR to the game. So that's the part where I'm trying to see the positive in this is that Sony knows that they have to find a way for people to make the PlayStation the console of choice to play MLB The Show. So they got to offer some kind of incentive to make you want to try to come over there and play it. So I hope they don't do some damn Madden coins, VR, VC coins, or whatever, and try to motivate people that way. I hope they add VR. VR was growing, and by the time this license kicks in, where they expand it to other platforms, the PS5 will have already been out about 6 months. So, in my opinion, they're going to have a console that's powerful enough to be able to run this game fully playable in VR. So, I'm really hoping that it's going to happen. I'm really, really hopeful that that's going to happen. You know what? As far as that goes, I've said it a thousand times. 90% of the reason why I'm even interested in getting a PS5 is because of the VR. As far as the flat screen games goes, yes, they're gonna have some great titles coming up. I think they're gonna continue what they've been doing in producing quality content, but that's not gonna be enough to make me get the console. Like take Death Stranding for instance. It looks like a very interesting game. Some people don't like it. Some people love it. I definitely thought it was a good looking game, but it was a game that was not on my radar. If that game would have been in VR, hands down, I would have bought it, even if everybody said it was trash. the only The only two flat screen games that are on my radar that I can unequivocally tell you that I'm going to get is Ghost of Tsushima and The Last of Us 2. I'm not interested in any other flat screen games. You know, for as good as that Hellblade 2 looks, it's not enough to make me go get an Xbox Series X. Ryan Landis, you said that's a great idea, especially since they're the only console that offers real VR. Yeah, that to me that would be the X factor right there, is to offer VR MLB The Show fully playable in VR. What upcoming game would you love to see in VR? Maybe Cyberpunk? Excuse me. Um, Boy, that's a tough one. One of the reasons that makes that such a tough question to answer is we don't have enough information about what games are going to be coming out for the PS5 and the Xbox Series X. If we had more information about what's coming, I could give a more concrete answer. But I guess to throw stuff out there, um, we know that Guerrilla Games is working on something for the PS5, and I was guessing that it might be the next Killzone game. And then when I learned that they hired people from the Rainbow Six team to work on this project with them, it made me wonder if they were working on the next SOCOM. But either, regardless of whether it's one of those two games, I would love to see either one of them in VR. You know, another Killzone and fully playable in VR, another Navy SEAL SOCOM fully playable in VR. I would love to see that. Um, Because the thing to keep in mind, Ryan, is that my way of answering that question, I also have to take the multiplayer aspect into consideration too. You know, because I want the entire game to be playable in VR. You know, the campaign and the multiplayer. And wow, right now I'm trying to think. I could probably count on one hand how many VR games have a campaign as well as a player versus player um, multiplayer. There are some VR games out there that have a campaign in a co-op mode, but not a campaign in a player versus player. So, but a Cyberpunk in VR, yeah, that would be cool. But the thing about that is the the generational gap in the graphics between flat screen games and VR games. Um, if a game like Cyberpunk were to come to VR, it couldn't happen until the PS5 comes out because the current PS4 Pro and right now, no, it just would not. It wouldn't have near enough power to run a game like that in VR. It would look like absolute dog shit. Check. Case in point is the Ace Combat 7. The campaign of this game looks gorgeous, but the VR part of this game has got PS3 graphics. So again, VR is an entire generation behind flat screen games when it comes to graphics, and it's about to happen again. Half-Life Alyx is about to bring us up to speed with current gen graphics, but current gen flat screen graphics. But the flat screen graphics are getting ready to take a phenomenal leap. Um, Ryan, you said I remember playing some Killzone 3 in 3D. I could only do it for about 15 minutes. Yeah, I had a 3D TV. I fell for it. Yeah, back when Sony had that 3D TV, which is I think is another amazing thing that flew under the radar with the PS3 because the PS3 was also a 3D. It was also a 3D player, so you could, if you had a 3D TV, you could also watch movies in 3D, which you can still do that right now with the PS4. Through the VR headset, you can still watch movies in 3D. If you pop a 3D disc in there, you can watch it in 3D through the current hardware. But yeah, that was another amazing feature, piece of hardware that flew under the radar. those 3D glasses too, those PlayStation 3D glasses that allow two people to play a game on the same TV. And what was slick about that is like Modal Storm, the game Modal Storm. What those 3D glasses allowed you to do is you had two pairs of glasses, player one and player two. Both people put on their glasses, look at the same TV screen. You don't have a split screen. You have a whole screen to yourself. So that was pretty slick. So yeah, that was pretty slick because I got to sample it. I think I tried it out at a GameStop before. They had a couple of 3D glasses, with the cable hooked to them, so nobody could try to run off and steal them. So I was putting on the player one glasses, and I would see a truck, take them off, put on the player two glasses, and then there would be a car. But you see an entire screen to yourself and not a split screen. So two people were able to share a TV screen, but it would look like they had their own screen. So that was an amazing feature. But the gaming world just wasn't ready for it, and I think Sony didn't do a good job advertising it because I really didn't even know about it until I walked into GameStop or Best Buy, wherever it was at that I saw it. I didn't even have any idea. I think Sony's had a lot of neat features that they didn't market. He said it worked great. I just didn't use it much. Most of the time, I didn't want to get the glasses out. Yeah, I might be guilty of VR right now. I think a lot of games in VR that require you to stand, like when I play VR games, if a game requires you to stand to get the most immersion out of it, I stand. I do not sit down on games that would be more immersive when you're standing up. With that being said, that's one of the reasons why I haven't been playing VR as much as I want to, because I've been working 10-hour shifts, standing on my feet for 10 hours. So it's like when I get home and I plop on that bed and close my eyes, sometimes I don't wake up until like 10 o'clock. That gives me about enough time to get up and eat and then go right back to bed. So the last thing I'm trying to do is get up at 11 o'clock while I'm still dog tired and stand up and play another game and play a game for another 2 hours. So now the racing sims, I absolutely love the racing sims when it comes to VR. I think racing sims and horror games, that's where VR shines. And the thing about racing sims is that I'm too lazy to grab my racing wheel because I have it attached to a small table parked in the corner. And some days I'm just a little too tired to go grab that table, set it up, plug up the wheel, calibrate it, all that stuff, get the software set up so I can stream it. And that's why I find myself watching more racing sim streams than doing it myself. So, but I think that's all I got. Oh my God, I've been on 50 minutes and did not intend to be on this long, but that's how great it is to be back to talk to everybody. But it is working its way towards the clock. I didn't get my daily dose of VR today, so you know what? Before I go, this right here, I'll mention this again tomorrow, but I'll tell you guys right now, I used this Oculus Quest yesterday to watch the Game Awards in VR. It was crazy because it was like I was actually there. So I saw a lot of stuff that you guys didn't see because they must have had 180-degree cameras placed in multiple spots throughout the theater. And the way they had it set up was they had a VR section for people that were wearing Oculus Quest headsets. There was a VR section that was like a balcony, and I was watching it with live people that were on their Oculus Quest. So people were having conversations, standing up, dancing, doing all kinds of crazy stuff in VR. Meanwhile, while I'm watching the actual show, because it seemed like we were actually in the crowd from a balcony, I could see the cameramen that were on their knees and they were pointing the camera back they were pointing the camera back at the crowd when they were like, okay, one of the things that I was seeing that you guys didn't see when they would announce nominees for a specific category, and the nominees are, and then they would show trailers of the nominees. What was going on was they would turn out the lights, and then the stage hands were, they would take a microphone and set it up on the stage, and then somebody would bring the award out, and then they would turn the lights back on, announce the winner, and then give them their award. And then when they cut back to the host, I can see the stagehands. They would quick run out, grab the microphones and all the other props that they had set up, and quick slide that stuff in the back. So seeing what I saw, I was like, man, it must have cost no less than $1 million to put that award show together, because there was so much stuff going on. And then I could see the overhead cameras that was like swiveling, across the rafters or whatever. So that was crazy. So I saw stuff that you guys didn't see. Um, so yeah, that's part of the moves that Oculus is making with these social experiences, where you can see a lot of your everyday stuff in VR. Matter of fact, Sunday. So I think December 15th. Let me check the calendar here. No, actually, yeah, Sunday. So Sunday, December 15th, you have a yeah, Oculus Quest is a standalone VR system. But hold on a second. It's a standalone VR system. But what they did, right? What they just did was a game changer. If you can get one of these link cables, this isn't the exact cable, but you get the idea. If you get one of these link cables, you can connect it right there, right into the Oculus Quest, and then run the other end into your PC, and it turns into a PC headset. So it's a standalone headset that can plug into a PC, and it becomes a PC headset. So that's one of the things that they've done that made it a game changer, and I think that's one of the reasons why Microsoft did not go through with that deal. I'll talk about that again, but so Sunday, December 15th, there's going to be an NBA game, I think, between the Golden State Warriors and I think the New Orleans Pelicans. That game, I'll be able to watch it in VR. Ryan Landis, as it stands right now, there's an app called Next VR. You can download that app. You can even download that app on the PlayStation VR, and you can watch highlights of NBA games in VR. And so there's a variety. There's several cameras. You can, one angle will have you in the seats. Another angle will have you courtside. Another camera angle is like right above the rim. And then when I first started seeing this stuff, the picture quality of this stuff wasn't very good, and the players looked tall and stretched. The resolution and the visuals, the clarity has gotten much, much better over the past year and a half. So, and then the beauty of being able to watch an NBA game in VR using this Oculus Quest headset, being that it's a standalone headset with no wires, I'll be able to just lay back on my bed and just relax and watch the game in VR. And then when I'm having a drink, I just put a straw. I just put a straw in the cup and sip my drink that way. Yeah, Ryan Landis. They just came out with an update a couple of days ago where you can navigate the dashboard with your hands and don't need controllers. So, like I said, Oculus is moving at a very, very fast pace. So it's going to be. So it was really, really cool to watch that Game Awards in VR. And it's again, I've seen baseball highlights, NFL highlights, hockey highlights, NBA highlights in VR. But to be able to watch a live game in VR, that's going to be so cool. It's going to be a free Um, it's going to be a free NBA game. So I'll be able to watch this in VR while everybody else watches it on flat screen. And so I'll be able to see stuff that you guys won't see. Other social experiences that are out there. There's an app called Altspace. There's a variety of activities going on, and so to try to condense what I was going to say, um, they had a comedy show. Well, not necessarily a comedy show. They called it a talent show in VR. So you basically go into this auditorium, a VR auditorium, and there is a live host. But you see his avatar. You don't see him. You see Mr. Righteous Fish. No, this is my same channel. I'm finally out of YouTube jail. How you doing? So in this auditorium, they had a talent show. They had a live host. So you see everybody's avatar in there, but they had a live host, and what he would do was he would say a few things, and then people would get into a queue and get into a lineup. So what he would do was say, "Okay, up next we got Silver Streak. Give it up for him." And then everybody in VR is clapping their hands and stuff, and then this person would in VR get up on stage, and they would rap, sing, recite some poetry, anything they wanted to do in up on that stage. So that was a really cool social experience. I've watched concerts in VR, where I went into it was like a nightclub in VR, and there was a guy on the stage, with a guitar playing the guitar in VR. So that was pretty cool too. So there's you guys don't know just how much social experiences this out there. You said I was unsubscribed for some reason and I never did that. I think YouTube I think YouTube rolled out an update a couple of months ago where I actually had to go back and resubscribe to some of the people that I was subscribed to because I wasn't seeing any content coming out of them. So I went to their pages to find out if their pages had been deleted or what's going on with them. And it turned out that I wasn't subscribed, and I had to subscribe again. So I'm not surprised by that, Righteous Fish. So so yeah, there's so many social experiences. Wait a minute, did I get a retweet? Yeah, so many social experiences in VR. I'm trying to pull up my Oculus app so I can show you guys. So I think there was a game tonight that was in VR. Give me a second here. Ah, you said, yeah. Look what happened to you, and I was like, what the. But yeah, it's the Sacramento Kings. So I don't know if you guys will be able to see it or not, but right there, it's an upcoming game between the Sacramento Kings and the Golden State Warriors, and this game is going to be in VR. And you see up at the top where it says Quest, and I'll be able to watch this game in VR through the Oculus Quest. So that's gonna be so cool. Um, but let me see what time this game is because see the game's going to be at 8:30, but I don't know if this game is going to be 8:30 West Coast time or 8:30 Eastern time because if the game happens at 8:30 Eastern time, that could be a problem because that's usually the time that I take my son home. But hey, I think with the NBA League Pass, you can purchase the NBA League Pass through the Next VR app, and it used to be a limited package of how many of how many games you could watch in VR. But now I think they expanded it to the point where you can watch any game you want in VR now, and you can watch these games. Through this experience, you can watch these games in VR through the PlayStation VR. In fact, the PlayStation VR was the first headset that I saw this next VR app on. So just like with the MLB, they do give you some free games. So I'll be able to watch some of these free games in VR. I do have a Fire Stick, so I can watch any game I want. But to be able to watch some of these games in VR is gonna be a pretty awesome experience. So, but now I'm starting to get a little bit scratchy now. Um, I'll still have a lot of stuff to talk about tomorrow because, like I said, I've done a lot of tweets over the past week, 2 weeks. It's going to be cool to be able to do live from Wakanda and actually do it live again. So, again, I got to get the StreamYards thing set up because to I haven't done anything to get set up where I can bring guests on yet. Because now that Google Hangouts is going, I either have to do it through StreamYard or Discord. I was trying to set up the Discord, but that just like it was just a total headache. So I'll probably end up going with StreamYard, and I'll get back to doing live from Wakanda, and we'll get back to me and Craig doing our thing. Because Craig was such a regular on live from Wakanda that I feel like it's just as much his show as it is mine. Hey, thanks a lot. Welcome back from YouTube jail. It's good to see you. I really appreciate it. I really do. And I said it in my last video. I miss all you guys, and it is so good to be back to be able to talk to you guys live. And so moving forward, I will be a little more conscious of what I put in terms of videos. So I think moving forward, this is what you're going to see. You'll either see me post some kind of screenshot picture or if I run any kind of video, it'll more than likely be a video game video because by me running a video game, you know, um, in a loop or whatever, I'm actually doing work for them and helping them get advertisement out. So why would they, try to hit me with some kind of copyright crap? So I'm actually doing them a favor by running their games through my streams. So, but yeah, I'll get back to doing live streams. One thing that hasn't changed is whenever I stream from my PC, I still haven't figured out how to pop out the chat and hang it up in the air. So I'm still in that same situation where I'll have to occasionally lift the headset up, and look at the TV. But I'll still get back to the live streams. Whenever I stream from PSVR, I'll still be able to see your comments. So we'll be getting back to that stuff here pretty soon. But I'll still be doing, I'm not gonna let my Twitch channel die. I'll still be doing some game streams from the Twitch channel. So that ain't going nowhere either. So with that being said, I don't want to go to bed just yet. I'm working tomorrow, but I'm only working 5 hours. So it's not, and I've already gotten a lot of sleep, so it's not a situation where I can probably afford to stay up for another hour. So I think I'll grab my Oculus Quest, and I think I'll play a little bit of Vader Immortal. But one of the reasons why I haven't played that is because Vader Immortal, the game came out in 3 episodes. I streamed the first episode a few months ago when it first came out, and then I made it a point not to stream episode 2 because I wanted to wait until the series was complete. So now episode 2 and 3 is out, and I have been wanting to stream it as one game. So that's still another possibility too. So rather than play Vader or Immortal of the Night, I can still jump in and play Dead and Buried too, because that's a multiplayer game, with not much of a campaign. So that's something that I can just jump in and out just to give me my little fill of VR. Damn, I totally forgot about Population One. That VR game is coming out. That's basically Fortnite in VR. It's not, it's a battle royale game, but it's basically a Fortnite battle royale game where you can build forts just like Fortnite, where you can fortify. Um, you can build a fortress, fortify it, that kind of stuff, and it's going to be crossplay across all headsets, even the Oculus Quest, and and Mr. Righteous Fish, yeah, yeah, I have Asgard's Wrath. I have it. That to me, I thought that was my game of the year. If you go back, Mr. Righteous Fish, if you go back into my videos, I did about five. I uploaded about 5 videos of Asgard's Wrath. This is a truly amazing game, and I loved it. There was a part where you had an axe, just like in God of War. You had an axe, and I would throw that axe, and then when you make a pulling motion like that to bring it back, the axe will come back to you just like the Leviathan axe in Kratos. Oh man, and I love that. I was throwing that axe left and right. Absolutely enjoyed it. Asgard's Wrath is a Asgard's Wrath is a gem. That game, that game is worth its weight in gold because this is a VR game. It costs $40. Is a great looking VR game. I think Lone Echo is the only game that looks better than Asgard's Wrath. So the top 3 best looking games that I've ever seen in VR is Lone Echo. That's the top one, and then it's kind of a toss up between Asgard's Wrath and Stormland. Both of them is amazing looking games. Um, but Asgard's Wrath is a gem because that game is like 30 hours of gameplay. Do I think PS5 VR will be close to PC VR? Absolutely. That's what I'm waiting for. That's when PS5 hits, the floodgates are going to open on VR games because right now PC is way more powerful than PlayStation VR. PlayStation VR has a lot of games on there, but there's a ton of games on PC. There's 2 reasons for that. One is because of the early access, because Steam will let these developers put the game on the platform even though it's not finished. They'll put it on there in early access and offer the game at a discounted rate because it's in early access. So the game is still a work in progress. And then the other, and with Sony, they got really strict. Um, they're pretty strict with a game being finished before it gets on the PlayStation VR platform. So that's one of the reasons why you don't see as many games on the PlayStation VR as you do on PC. And then the other thing is the hardware limitations. PC is way more powerful than the PlayStation. No way around it. And that's one of the reasons why, like a game like, in my opinion, a game like Lone Echo could never make it onto the current PlayStation because it would look like absolute dog shit. One of 2 things would happen. The graphics would be severely watered down to the point where the shit looked like, PS2, or the shit would be extremely blurry. But it's on PC. In the case of Lone Echo, how good the game looks depends on how powerful your PC is. And Lone Echo is just absolutely gorgeous. And Half-Life Alyx is about to take that to the next level. And Half-Life Alyx is the first game that my son has gone out of his way to ask me for. But his PC does not meet the minimum requirements in terms of RAM. His computer has 8 gigs of RAM, so I am going to upgrade his PC next month and put 16 gigs of RAM. because you need a minimum of 12 to meet the requirements for Half-Life Alyx. So I'm going to put another 8 gigs of RAM in his PC so he can meet the minimum requirements, because my son is absolutely excited about Half-Life Alyx. I've never seen him be this excited about a VR game before. He's so excited about the game that he's going back and he's been playing anything that's connected to Half-Life. You know, Half-Life, Half-Life 2, you know, the multiplayers, the Gary's mods, the Orange Box, all that stuff. He's been going back to that stuff. Mr. Righteous Fish, yeah, PC gaming and VR ain't cheap. Yeah, it's an expensive. It's very expensive, and that's why PlayStation has brought VR to where it is right now, because they made it affordable. Even though when it first came out, it started out at $500 for the complete bundle, it was still the cheapest of the major headsets. And over the years, it's gotten cheaper. So now, that same $500 bundle retails for $350, and then when you catch them on sale, it usually when it does go on sale, it'll cost $250. That's for the bundles that includes the Move controllers. So, but yeah, when the PlayStation 5 comes out, the reason, and I didn't get back to saying that, Mr. Righteous Fish, the reason why the floodgates are going to open when the PS5 comes out is because you're going to have a console that's going to be within the general ballpark of the current PCs that are out there right now. So now, when these developers release a game on PC, they'll be able to release it on the PS5 at the same time, because they'll have hardware that's powerful enough that they can do it all at once. Because the situation that these developers are facing right now is they'll release something on PC, and then they have to do an ungodly amount of work to try to water this thing down to be able to get it on the PlayStation VR. That won't be the case when the PS5 comes out. Like I said, they'll have hardware that's powerful enough that they'll be able to release them on all platforms at once. And that was another reason why we needed Xbox to get on board with this, because the more avenues that these developers have to release their games, the more people that's going to get involved in it. So, like right now, it's not feasible for EA to get involved in VR the way I want them to, because a Madden fully playable in VR, PC would be powerful enough to do it right now. But the PlayStation, no, it would look like absolute dog shit. But when the PS5 comes out and the Xbox Series X, if they decide to support VR, you're going to have 3 platforms where the hardware is powerful enough that they'll be able to release the game on all 3 of those platforms simultaneously. And that I think would entice more developers to get on board with VR, because, that was my big push in VR, that I was lobbying for people like EA and 2K and to get on board with VR, even though I don't care for EA. I don't care for EA, but I would love to be able to play Madden fully playable in VR. I don't even like Madden, but I would absolutely love to play it in VR. I'm concerned with streaming VR is a much better way to go for consumers instead of service-based future. Streaming games in VR is something I'll never get on board with, because as it stands right now, from local hardware, even though VR games don't look as good as flat screen games, the hardware still has to work even harder than that flat screen game did. So you got the hardware doing all that work and still trying to stream it at the same time, and that would definitely tax your PC trying to stream a VR game, because your PC's already going to be working its ass off just playing the game. And now you're trying to stream the game, and then if you a YouTuber trying to stream the game and stream it through YouTube, it would be an awful experience. So no, that's something that I'll never support. I'll never support Stadia, and I'll never support streaming VR games. Not to mention that if you got an awful internet connection, you're gonna see all kinds of compression, all kinds of artifacts, all kinds of blotchy, uh, you know, uh, blocks, all kinds of stuff. So no, I'll never get on board with it. And that's my whole thing about VR because um, I think the more photorealistic the game looks, the more realistic the game feels. Cartoon games in VR, yeah, they're cool, but they're not as immersive as say a game like Lone Echo with photorealistic graphics. And Lone Echo, the game looks so real when you're floating around inside that PlayStation, that that space station, that you don't want to come near the doors because you're scared that if that door opens up, you'll get sucked into space. And then when you actually have when you have a mission in that game where you actually have to go out there in space, you hang on to that transport for dear life because you feel like if you let go of it and start to float off in space, that's it. That's how real it feels. So so yeah, I'll never get behind this streaming crap. Streaming, this as far as it goes right here. Me doing it like this. Or if I stream a game, it's going to be from the local hardware. I'm not gonna stream a game through Stadia because as it stands, I don't have enough upload speed for Stadia to even run right, and then to try to stream it to YouTube on top of that. No, and I'm not gonna spend $150 a month for internet connection to make it run on par with a console. So buy the local hardware, and be done with it. I'm not, nah, just no, 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 no. Just not messing with Stadia. That's that. But yeah, we're working our way towards 130. Like I said, I want to have a little bit of time to jump on this quest, play some Dead and Buried or something like that, and that's going to be another thing on my agenda now that I'm on YouTube jail, is to go through, watch some videos so I can learn how to get my Quest hooked up so I can stream from the Quest, so you guys can see what that's like. So, but yeah, I'm getting I'm getting pretty scratchy here, so I'm gonna shut my trap and go ahead and get on out of here. But once again, thanks for tuning in, everybody. Thanks for the big welcome back. I really appreciate it. Again, I miss all you guys. I miss interacting with you guys, and just like old times, I only had enough to say to make this stream go on about 15 or 20 minutes, but interacting with all of you is what carried this stream on as long as it went, and I definitely appreciate it, and I definitely missed it. So that's going to do it for me. I'm going to go ahead and boogie on out of here. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, share, all that good stuff. And keep an eye out for me tomorrow when I stream live from Wakanda, and also keep an eye out when I stream touring carts on the PlayStation VR. So, yep, Ryan Landis, you have a good night, man. I really appreciate it. Thanks for tuning in. And that's going to do it for me. Thanks for watching, everybody. Deuces.